So Trevor Watkins, welcome to Soccer X. We're in Cairo this year. You've been coming since day one. What do you make of it so far?
Oh, it's great to be honest, Jerry. I mean, one looks at the importance of the MENA region and how that is impacting on sport globally, not just football. And it really is a hotbed of interest, and that's demonstrated by the number of delegates that are here.
And how have you seen Soccer X change over the years? Because you first came in, 1996, 97?
It is, and if I go back to those days when I'd been collecting money in buckets to rescue AFC Bournemouth, taking ownership, becoming Europe's first community-owned club, there we were languishing in the bottom half of League One, and here we are, 28 years on, challenging for a Champions League place. How the world does change.
It's exciting times at Bournemouth, some fantastic players coming through, and a bright young manager. He's much in demand, isn't he, 𝐤𝐬? Do you think Bournemouth can keep hold of him?
You'd hope so. I mean, you've got, under the new ownership of Bill Foley, with the Las Vegas Knights, people have seen what he's done there. The idea of bringing in a brand new state-of-the-art training facility, getting a new stadium built. There are ambitious plans. I was there for a number of the games this season. I've still got my season ticket. And one would hope that maybe, just maybe, they get their first season in Europe.
And will they keep the bulk of those players? Because there's a lot of the bigger clubs that are eyeing them up, aren't they?
I think that's a key thing. If they get into Europe, they stand a very good chance of keeping them. If they don't, with release clauses, the attraction of a Real Madrid or Liverpool to those players, it's going to be more difficult, but you'd hope so.
And expansion in infrastructure as well?
No, definitely. And I think that's it is a template for other clubs. You've seen the Lutons, the Brightons, the Nottingham Forest this year, and the way in which they've come to the fore in the Premier League. There's every hope that Bournemouth can do exactly the same thing. And what a story. I mean, it's no doubt why we're getting so much interest from Netflix and others as to potential documentaries or film about what we did in '97, when, if you think about it, a ragtag bunch of supporters. I mean, I just happened to sit in the main stand with my dad and say to the commercial director, do you need some help? And from that, it was Europe's first takeover by the fans of a club, a professional club. I mean, I remember standing on the steps with Eddie Howe, now the Newcastle manager, Richard Hughes, now director of football from Liverpool, who joined us a year later, Steve Fletcher, an iconic centre-forward, who's still at the club now. Those three people have been consistent parts, as I have been, in the club's history. So who knows what's achievable for Bournemouth?
And did you dream back then that you'd be in this position now, taking points, winning, beating the big boys?
No, I mean, did I dream that I'd have 140, 150 people working within a team that I oversee globally, buying and selling clubs, investing, doing sponsorship deals, sitting on a stage with you, as we've done many times? No, I was just an ordinary fan whose dad had taken him to see a club when I was 7 years old. And I offered my help, not thinking that it would lead to the bank who'd shut the club saying to me, why don't we lend you the money to buy this team? And I took it over and I built the stadium we play in now. That is a kind of Roy of the Rovers story. As I say, that's why there is so much interest in the book I wrote, the things that happened, and the idea of making a film. No, I never believed it would lead to this. But it really is testament to how sport has changed. We went from hiring a guy that used to work in a clothes retailer, Marks and Spencer's, the aptly named Mike Corduroy, as our chief scout, who would go out and do handwritten notes, to the sophistication now of the way in which players get ready for games, the global nature, which is why, Soccer X was a thing of its time and is a thing of its time now in leading the way in the world for soccer to come together as it is now doing in Cairo and will do in Amsterdam and Miami.
So now we're in North Africa, the MENA region, huge hotbed of football, and football's coming here, isn't it?
It is, and you can see that in the enthusiasm. When one looks at the way in which interest is driven globally, it's authentic here. It's authentic in Saudi Arabia. We'll be talking about 2034 whilst we're here in Cairo. You can see the passion. You can see the drive. And I think it is a region whose time is very much come.
And I know you're doing some work with Saudi Arabia. Tell us about some of the developments there, because there's a World Cup coming in a few years' time, isn't there?
And I think the interesting thing for us, we've had an office in Riyadh for decades, and we've just opened under the name st Masons, or will be in the very near future. the important thing is that country has 30 million people, vastly outnumbering a number of the other countries are joining it. It's got a plan, a strategic vision, and you're seeing sport as an enabler, and football is very much part of that. A very young population, a population whose bid team was almost half the age of the other bidders for the World Cup over the last few years. And where with the Olympics, the Winter Olympics, with the World Cup, with the Asian Games, the AFC, the Champions League and so on, it's right at the heart of what it's doing. And it's a key part of what we do in our business at St Mason's day in, day out, with our 4 offices across the region.
And you touched on it earlier, you're working with a number of clubs, buyouts and sales and interest from new potential owners. Can you give us an update on how many clubs you're working with and what progress there is?
It never beggars belief as to how much interest there is in the buying and selling and investment of clubs. It gets us a lot of publicity. You know, we've been doing the work on Manchester City, Everton, others, in terms of regulatory work. But when you look at the buying and selling, that's what gets the fans excited. I mean, just this weekend, if I just think, or even this morning, we've had 2 transactions come up where we've been asked to advise. There's another one where there's 3 bidders circling a club. And it's not just in England, it is across Europe. And I think the interesting thing for investors will be, how do they build MENA and the wider region into its strategy, their strategy for growth in the future?
Trevor, it's been fascinating just talking to you. We'll speak again, but enjoy Soccer X while you're here.
Thank you.